Yo everybody, welcome to my channel. This story about what Naruto from the Inuzuka clan. Let's start.
Naruto, or as he is known by most outside of his clan, Inuzuka Naruto was a very special child. He wasn't retarded or anything, he just had a very weird childhood. His life been started off pretty bad. He was the child of the Inuzuka clan leader, and he had a twin brother who was 7 minutes younger, Kiba, and an older sister Hana. You may that this was all pretty nice, however, 8 days after his birth, the most feared demon had been sealed into him. The demon died in the process, but Naruto absorbed some. His chakra giving him the potential to be a great ninja. As well, the sacrifice made Naruto a hero of the village. Many thought that he had killed the demon, and rocketed T. Inuzuka clan to fame and political power. They were now considered one of the three most prominent clans in Konoha, the other two being the Uchiha and the Hyuga. Naruto's life had gone pretty nicely since then. At the age of 1 he and his brother picked out their companion for life, or in Naruto's case, companions. Kiba had chosen a cute puppy called Akamaru, who had been the nicest and most sweet-looking of the bunch litter. Naruto however, picked out a crossbred between a wolf and husky. Ask me how the fuck that happened. However, the dog would not be separated from his brother, so Naruto took both. That night he named the two dogs Masao and Akira. Was the older of the two and a bit bigger. They were both gray with very large fangs. At first, they scratched and attacked Naruto anytime he came near them, but Naruto persisted and eventually they began to grow attached to him. As well, they both got on well with Akamaru. Kiba and Naruto were very similar, and were always together. They were both arrogant, loved cool flashy techniques, and both grew tall at an early age. Now, they are 8 or walking towards the academy. Naruto. Kiba. You stupid brats. A feminine voice was heard and an unreal amount of killer intent was released behind them. Ha 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 ha. It looks like Hana realized we put blue hair dye in her shampoo. Oh crap. Run. Said sister began chasing them and their dogs through the village yelling things like, I'm going to fucking kill you, and, when I'm done with you you're not gonna be recognizable. At the academy, Naruto and Kiba managed to snag 2 seats at the back. Sitting next to Naruto was Nara Shikamaru. Next to Kiba was Akamichi Choji. They all knew EAC. All being of prominent clans of Konoha. Hey Naruto, hey Kiba, Choji said. A grunt was heard from Shikamaru. Hey Choji, hey Shikamaru. The two brothers said, not in unison. I hate it when people do that, it's really creepy. Iruka walked into the room and gave a long-winded speech on how they would have to work hard and the life of shinobi was hard. We know what he says. Somewhere in middle of it, you could hear the sound of snoring and bags of potato chips being eaten. Out of nowhere, 4 chalkboard erasers hit the 4 boys at the back. What the? Naruto yelled. What's the big idea? Kiba shouted. Troublesome teacher. Stupid erasers, was heard coming from Shikamaru's mouth. He had not sat up and a few seconds later more snores were heard. Iruka's head began to grow bigger and bigger, and his face turned a shade of red that was not meant to be discovered. The class were laughing their asses off, except for you, Sasuke, who just sighed and stared into the wall. What the hell do you think you're doing? I should beat the living daylights out of you. Stay back after class. Whatever, was heard from Choji. The other 3 had fallen asleep. Kids, you all have a lot of potential, but if you waste your time in my class, you won't learn the basics, which are the key to becoming a ninja. Iruka begins his lecture ends 20 minutes later. So I want you all to promise that you will at least try and pay attention, he finished. Yes Iruka-sensei, all 4 of them chorused. The years progressed in the fashion, and all 4 of them became good friends, and they all hated Sasuke and his evil fan club. Apart from the training they got from the academy, Kiba and Naruto always trained with Hana. Needless to say, the only way that they could stop having the shit kicked out of them was by improving. Naruto learned interesting Inuzuka techniques. For example, he could multiply his 2 companions into a pack of wolves, useful for hunting and fighting. As well, he learned to speak with M. and Akira. It turned out they were quite vicious and had learned how to swear. He wondered where that came from. Finally the day came for their graduation day. Naruto and Kiba walked to the academy like every other day, and they're tagged along, talking to each other and enjoying the spring day. Along the way, they met up with Shikamaru and Choji. So, do you think you'll pass? Naruto asked Shikamaru. I hope so. Failing this year would be a pain in the ass. I don't want to have to go back to the academy. I know you'll be fine. You're like goddamn genius when you aren't sleeping. Shikamaru just shrugged, grunted and looked at the sky. Naruto had never understood his obsession with clouds, they were so white and boring. Alright class, as you all know today is the final exam, the test to see if you become a genin. We will be doing the tests next door, and in alphabetic order, first up Aburame. Shino walked out of the room, his face deeply hidden beneath his jacket. The rest of the class were talking nervously, with the exception of the four musketeers who were laughing their heads off at some shit joke that no one would find funny. As well, Sasuke was staring at the wall being his usual confident asshole self. The fan club was Sasuke admiring how brave he was and how good-looking he was. There were even some boys staring at him imagining themselves in dreams too disgusting to write. The people came and went, most of them passing, with the odd fan girl or boy failing, but they were all retarded anyway so who cared? Of course Choji passed and he was proudly displaying his new shiny Hita 8 to his friends, who were all impressed. Out of the four Choji was the weakest, he had pretty low self-esteem and wasn't motiva. And they could get him to train was to call him fat and then run like there was no tomorrow. Then came Kiba, who was much stronger than Choji, but just weaker than his brother. Naruto was the strongest in terms of raw power and techniques, and his dogs were almost unbeatable, but Shikamaru was able to beat them all. Intelligence was astounding and he could come up with the perfect battle plan in seconds, but he was lazy as hell and would have to start working if he wanted to be able to. Naruto in the near future. Inuzuka Kiba. Iruka's voice was heard at the doorway. Good luck bro. Naruto said and he gave him a high five for luck. A few minutes later Kiba came back with a Hita 8 like Choji's except he wouldn't stop bragging about and saying how good he was. Inuzuka Naruto, Iruka said. The two Inuzukas went through the same motion as before except this time Naruto almost took Kiba's hand off. Naruto, this year's test is Bunshin no Jutsu and Henge no Jutsu, so first I would like you to make 3 copies of yourself. Naruto had always had a very difficult time doing Bunshin no Jutsu. Hana just said it was due to his huge amounts of chakra, but he had eventually figured it out. 3. Appeared next to Naruto. Now please transform them into something that you could use in battle. The 3 clones disappeared in a cloud of smoke for a second and then Choji, Kiba and Shikamaru were all standing in front of Naruto. He had a foxy grin on his face. Fuck yeah. That's how we do it bitch. Yelled Masao. Luckily all Iruka could hear was barking. Good job Naruto you pass, Iruka said and he handed him a Hita 8. Naruto was happy beyond belief, now he an official ninja of the Leaf Village. He quickly tied it around his forehead, keeping his tattooed face clear, but hiding some of black hair. He thought he looked pretty hot, but hey, he was the great Inuzuka Naruto after all. After the tests had finished, Iruka stepped back into the main classroom and began to give his closing speech. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of those who passed the test and who are on their way to becoming great shinobi. Next, I would like to congratulate Uchiha Sasuke, becoming this year's Rookie of the Year. There was a small amount of clapping, excluding the fangirls, who had orgasms, all because their Sasuke-kun had become Rookie of the Year. One even tried to give him He pushed her away, where she was beaten up. The rest of the fangirls and boys, the boys had grown in number, who were offended because she had tried to defile their kun. Hey Sasuke, why don't you take the rod out of your ass and stop being so gay? Kiba yelled across the room. Sasuke flipped him off. Kids who passed make sure you're here tomorrow to meet you Junin senseis. The next day. Alright kids I'm going to read off the names of the people in your team and your Junin sensei. Team 9. Inuzuka Kiba, Inuzuka Naruto and Nara Shikamaru. The 3 shinobi exchanged a round of high fives and, oh yeah. Your teacher will be Sarutobi Asuma. Naruto and Kiba arrived home at the Inuzuka compound. They were told to report to Training Ground 9 tomorrow. That night, the 2 brothers enjoyed their favorite meal. Very rare. After that, they went outside, they knew what was coming next. You see, it is Inuzuka tradition that when a member of the clan becomes a shinobi of the village, must display their skills against a different member of the clan, in front of the entire clan. Inuzuka Naruto and Inuzuka Kiba, you have both become shinobi of the Leaf Village, and it is part of your duty as members of the Inuzuka clan to display your skills to the of the clan. Due to you both graduating today, you will be fighting on a team against Inuzuka Hana. Both boys turned to each other. Oh shit. The fight was going better than they thought it would have. They were only having their asses kicked pretty lightly, which, considering they were fighting a homicidal sadist idea of fun was torturing Konoha's criminals, they were happy. Then, Hana realized this and began to destroy them, literally. Her punches were hitting very sensitive areas. Their dogs were being used as chew toys by her elder and more experienced dogs. Hana finally stopped her onslaught, only to enjoy the sight of her two brothers holding balls writhing in pain. Come on Kiba, we outnumber her, and we're smarter. Naruto said to Kiba, his voice higher than normal. Allow me to put their intelligence into perspective. Naruto was smarter than a bucket of shit. Kiba's intelligence rivaled that of a bucket of shit, and Hana made a bucket of look like a genius. Needless to say, the Inuzuaks rarely produced clever people. Alright, here's the plan. I'm gonna risk my balls and my life to create a distraction, and then I want Akamaru to transform into you and have him attack Hana while you rue behind her. Then when she thinks she's got you, you hit her from behind, while Masao and Akira hit from the sides and I hit her from the front. There is no way she'll figure. I mean, come on, even you're smarter than her. Anyway, you got the plan. Yeah bro, let's do it. Masao, Akira, I need you guys to take care of Hana's dogs, if only for a few minutes. I'm going to stall her for as long as possible and hopefully Kiba will get a chance. Fuck yeah boss. I gotta get my revenge on those bitches, no pun intended. Akira said. The rest of the Inuzuka clan were shocked. Dogs were usually cute and happy, not swearing their heads off. Anyway, back to the fight. In one corner of the battlefield, a full-fledged dog fight that would have made Michael Vick grin like a 6-year-old. The dogs were frothing at the mouth, all four trying to get each other's throat. Naruto straight at Hana, his eyes closed. Naruto had developed a very interesting way of battle. He always kept his eyes closed. This was because Naruto had very strong senses. Hearing, sight, smell and touch. He had learned that what you see can easily be manipulated, or you may be in foreign conditions, such as mist, where seeing was pretty us. So he subconsciously began to use his other senses more and more, until he fully relied on them. A bonus of this was that he was almost impervious to genjutsu, a very powerful bonus. However, there was a slight flaw. Naruto did have to use his eyes when using ninjutsu or taijutsu, because the moves were too fast for him to register and move with any other senses. The fight began with Naruto dummying a punch to the right and trying a sweep kick to Hana's legs. She jumped and came down with an axe kick at lightning speed, not literally, just missing Naruto's leg. Naruto was impressed. Her sister wasn't even trying, and yet she had almost taken him out in one move, but then again, you don't get into Anbu for nothing. Naruto stood up and tried another approach, brute force. Naruto was pretty strong for his age and remarkably quick, but Hana was merely going left, right to dodge his punches, not even breaking a sweat. Then she got bored of this and caught Naruto's fist in her hand. The fight was over. She would destroy his hand and wouldn't get up. Very few his age would. However, she stopped for a split second, and that was all Naruto needed. He sent a reverse side kick into Hana's stomach. His san collided with an iron wall, but it took Hana by surprise and she dropped him. Naruto retreated. Kiba, being his idiotic self, failed to notice this and ran straight on into the ba. Hana, with Akamaru transformed into Kiba running straight at Hana, who was pissed off because she had lost her prey. Ouch. Enough said. The following morning, Naruto and Kiba were waiting for Shikamaru and Asuma. Neither of them knew very much about Asuma, except that he was the son of the Sandame Hokage, and a very powerful Junin. Eventually Shikamaru came, apparently sleepwalking until he let out a grunt of acknowledgement to Naruto and Kiba, as he walked by them, looking for a nice patch of grass to sleep on. Finally came Asuma, or Asuma Sensei as they were told to call him. He was pretty tall, but not a giant, with black hair and reasonably good looking. He was dressed like any other Junin of Konoha. except he had these kick-ass trench knives hanging from each side of his pants. Alright kids, today we're gonna continue training from where the academy left off, but only if you first pass the Genin test. Asuma said with a smile etched across his lips. Genin test? What the fuck, we already passed that yesterday. Kiba yelled. Oh, that thing, that was like the pre-test, now is where we see whether you are Genin stuff or not. The test is simple, there are 2 scrolls hidden around this area. You can get a scroll and get back hold onto it until lunch. Anyone who doesn't have a scroll will be sent back to the academy for another year's worth of training. The test S. Now. Kiba and Naruto set off immediately, searching everywhere. Shikamaru lay down and pretended to go to sleep. In fact, his brain was working in full gear. Naruto was searching everywhere for the scrolls, he had completely forgotten about Kiba and Shikamaru, he even had Akira and Masao digging holes. Then Asuma came, charged head first at him and attempted to take his head off with a single punch. Asuma ducked and sent his foot crashing into Naruto's stomach with a back kick. Naruto back and smashed into a tree, but he didn't stay down for long, he quickly got up and this time there was a smile on his face, although there was some blood trickling down corner of his mouth. This was because, at a young age, Naruto had a tattoo placed on his right forearm, but it was more than just a tattoo, it was a summoning mark. All H to do was place his hand on it and pump some chakra into it and he would summon Masao and or Akira to within a 50-foot radius. This did require a large amount of chalk. Naruto had an almost unlimited supply, and as he had fallen down, he had activated his tattoo, and quickly closing down on Asuma were his 2 friends, but Asuma had underestimated Naruto. Why the hell is he smiling? Shit, I hope I haven't fucked up his brain or something like that, but he is an Inuzuka, was thinking until something bit onto his arm. Haha, got you now, hey. What the fuck? Naruto yelled, as Asuma popped out of existence and in his place was Log. Then Naruto's animal instinct kicked in, everything's down, he could feel the vibrations in the surroundings for a couple feet in any direction, there was a slight ripple coming from a few feet away. He could smell the odors of human body scattered around behind him. He heard the blades of grass move, the air surrounding him being bended out of the way, he knew Asuma was coming and but not before dropping a bit of his blood around the surrounding area, hoping some would fall onto his opponent. Naruto came down with a hammer punch aimed at Asum. Head who only got over the shock of being avoided so well and managed to move out of the way, but not before Naruto could smear some of his blood all over him, then went through a set of hand seals and yelled out, Kuchios. Doden, Suiga no Jutsu. Then 9 dogs popped out of the ground and latched themselves onto Asuma who then popped out of existence. The real Asuma was sitting on top of AT. Watching the fight with Naruto, he was surprised that he had been able to beat his shadow clone, who was 10 of his strength, an impressive feat for Jenny. Kiba was having a much worse time. Instead of going after the scroll, he thought that it would be easier to incapacitate Asuma and then have an easy C for the scroll. However, the plan had not gone as well as he had thought it would. He had found Asuma, a clone, and immediately charged him like Naruto. However, he was not as strong or as quick. The result was him getting his ass kicked and then him lying on the floor for 10 minutes. Then he got bored of taijutsu and he used his Jujin Bunshin technique to form another version of himself. Then he used his Gatsuga move to launch the 2 at Asuma, who punched the spinning mass with enough force that the 2 fighters were sent flying. There is no way they could expect someone like Naruto or Kiba or me to beat a Junin, or even evade him for a couple of hours. Hell, even all 3 of us couldn't talk at once. That's it. What's the point of putting us into teams if we're just gonna be split up again? The objective is teamwork, man, this is gonna be troublesome. Shikama thought. Having figured out the objective, Shikamaru managed to get in a good cloud watching session while watching the other 2 getting their ass kicked. It actually looked quite painful. Naruto was having an array of low-level ninjutsu being used on him, and this was before he even figured out that there were no scrolls, but if Naruto was in pain, was barely living, forget the low-level ninjutsu, Asuma, the real one, was using a variety of genjutsu and then taijutsu moves on Kiba, a combo that would have made Guy. Finally Shikamaru got up and dragged the 2 boys away before any permanent damage was done to them. Tisk. This is so troublesome. Anyways, guys, what's the point of putting us into two teams? Shikamaru asked. So that we can work together against stuff that would be too hard for one person to do, Naruto replied, a look of comprehension coming onto his face. Kiba stared at him, thinking, what the fuck? That's right. So can you tell me what's the purpose of this test? Asked Shikamaru again. Teamwork, Naruto said, but not very convincingly, looking towards Shikamaru for clarification. Kiba was still standing there like someone had hit him very hard with a WR. On the head. Exactly, so what we need is a plan. I have noticed that there are no scrolls anywhere in the area, probably so as to make the test harder, when in fact it only makes it easier. Shikamaru said, a hint of arrogance in his voice. Huh? Naruto asked. Kiba was still staring into space. As I was saying, instead of having to look for the scrolls, get them and then hang onto them for an hour or two, now all we have to do is to overpower him or at least show we can work as a team, Shikamaru finished. The two Inuzuka stared at him. While they had been getting the shit kicked out of them, here he was staring at clouds, and yet he had figured out the test all by himself. Weren't the only ones impressed. Asuma had a look of shock on his face. Not only had this kid figured out his test, but he had discovered all the secrets of the test as well. While staring at the clouds, Nara, Shikamaru, you are a smart one. The three had been hiding for a long time, so Asuma thought, but in fact they were making various traps and positioning everything for the master plan that Shikamaru thought of. There were various risks involved in it though, many that relied on Asuma doing the predicted move or technique, but after studying Asuma for a few hours, Shikamaru thought he knew what he was doing. Then the plan began, with Naruto using an original move that Inuzuka clan had modified. It involved summoning a group wolves in his case, but instead of them disappearing when they were defeated or their purpose was achieved, they stayed until the user ran out of chakra, allowed them leave or they died. This made them almost invincible for tracking, and very useful in combat. Many of them had ridiculous outfits. The most notable was a dog dressed in a issued clothes from Vietnam with an army-style cap ruffled across his head. On the back of his clothes was a kanji for crazy motherfucker. Naruto and his pack, including Akira and Masao, went straight for Asuma, who felt their presence and began to prepare for a fight. What he hadn't counted on was being by hordes of bloodthirsty wolves, and he retreated, jumping onto the nearest branch, where he was forced to duck under a fist coming towards him. Kiba. He responded punch to the stomach. There was a poof, and then Akamaru fell to the floor. Asuma knew what was coming and jumped to the next tree. What he failed to notice was that as jumped, his foot tapped a length of wire, which immediately sent off a barrage of kunai, courtesy of a trap. There was a crack in the branch where Asuma was standing as Kiba dropped out of the sky, but that was the least of his problems. The kunai were coming. He looked up and saw an entire array of wires and nets. He looked down and another array of traps. He was screwed. He decided to allow himself to get caught. Sensei, I don't think that it was a very fair test. There were never any scrolls, Naruto said in a taunting voice to his sensei that was tangled up in a net. Kiba was laughing. Head off and Shikamaru was sleeping. I have to say, great job guys, you pass. Asuma said. He had gone easy on them and paid the price. It would not happen again. Naruto and Kiba began doing a Native American war dance and cheering. Shikamaru just snored louder. This is Wolf, I have my eyes on the target. Over, a boy with black spiky hair whispered into a headset. I can see the target and am ready to release the monster. Over, the boy code-named Dog said. The two boys were hiding on top of two separate buildings at either end of an alley, looking at a small thing. Both were holding pieces of wire which lead to small cages pass. In the alley. This is Shadow, release the monsters now, a third boy said while staring at the clouds in a park. The two boys pulled on the wire and loud noises that sounded like barking and a cat being tortured were heard from the alley. Then the two boys dropped down from their pee and pulled off their dogs from the small fur ball that was their target. Team 9 had been doing D-rank missions for a couple of months now, and even Shikamaru, who hated work, was getting pretty pissed off. This was the last straw. This 49th time they had caught the cat and they were about to explode. Having reported in about the success of their last mission, they were waiting for their next missio. Alright, let's see here, we can have you guys mow the lawn for Mr. Ichiro, or we could have you pick flowers for Mr. Yamanaka. Iruka was interrupted by Kiba, who yelled, "We have done enough of your crap, give us an interesting mission." "Yeah, come on," Naruto added. Shikamaru sighed. "What? Who do you guys think you are? You're just a bunch of..." Iruka was interrupted a second time, but this time by the Hokage. "Iruka, give them the wave mission, it's only AC rank and this is one of the best squads we have, and in addition we can send Kakashi's team with them as well." "Are you sure? They are very young and still not fully developed." "Yes, I'm sure," the Hokage replied, a hint of finality in his voice. A couple of hours later found Naruto and his team walking along with Kakashi and his team, which consisted of Uchiha Sasuke, Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura. The two were both constantly walking behind Sasuke, drooling over his butt. They were weird. Naruto and Sasuke were actually getting along. For years in the academy they had been rivals, each attempting to outdo the other in an attempt to prove who the better of the two was. Now that they had been split up, they missed having a constant rival who you try your hardest. As well, Naruto was jealous. He didn't have some amazing bloodline that was going to awaken any minute now. He had the ability to talk with animal. That was a skill anyone could learn after years of practice. "So, how's your team?" Sasuke asked. "It's awesome. I got my brother and Shikamaru who are both cool, but Asuma-sensei seems to only like Shikamaru," Naruto replied. "I wish I could say the same thing for my team. Sakura and Ino are really annoying, and all Kakashi-sensei does is read his damn book." "Oh well. Any developments in the Sharingan?" "Nope, not really. I can almost activate, but not really," Sasuke said. "Hey Naruto, stop talking to the asshole and come walk with us," Kiba yelled. Shikamaru had a smile on his face. Sasuke then tripped on a small pebble and was swarmed. Sakura and Ino. Naruto took this opportunity to go back with his friends. "What were you doing with that loser?" Kiba demanded, almost sounding jealous. The usual grin on his face was gone and in its place there a look of indifference. "Nothing. I was just seeing if he had gotten any better or if he was cool." Naruto attempted to defend himself. He couldn't come to terms with the fact that he almost his time with the Uchiha. "Anyway, a while back I smelt something human-like, and so did Akamaru, but it was just a hair, in its winter coat. Do you think we should tell Asuma-sensei?" Kiba asked Naruto. As he finished speaking, Naruto pulled him down to the floor. Where he had been standing, there was a whoosh of air and a spiked chain sliced the air where Kiba had been standing. Naruto's animal reflexes had come in handy again. He had heard the chain before he had seen and was able to dodge it. He had already told Masao and Akira to the mysterious assailants. The rest of their small group had gotten ready for a fight, even Ino and Sakura, who were hiding behind Sasuke. Then, in the bushes surrounding the narrow dirt path that they had been following were 7 shinobi, all wearing Kurigakure Hita 8. Kurigakure no Jutsu, a ninja yelled, and heavy layer of mist formed around the group. "Zabuza, I could recognize that smell of blood anywhere, as well that jutsu has always been a specialty of yours. As well it seems that you have brought along some strong Junins," Kakashi said, in his usual monotone, not an ounce of surprise in his voice. Although no one could see, he had lowered his mask to reveal his second eye, which w glowing with the Sharingan. A kunai flew out of the mist, flying straight towards the man they had been instructed to escort to the wave. Kakashi blocked it just as it was about to bury itself in the throat. "Ha, surely you must know you don't stand a chance, your little eye can't see through this mist," Zabuza laughed to himself. Naruto and Kiba were at a great advantage though. They could easily identify the mysterious Zabuza's smell as well as those who were accompanying him. There was a one of Zabuza's guys fell, his throat ripped out and blood gushing out of it. There were more yells as Kiba and Naruto took out 2 more of the shinobi. "Zabuza, you cannot believe that a Junin would merely rely on a gift to succeed," Kakashi said, but he bluffing. Sure, if this was Naruto or Sasuke he would be able to beat. Relying on his sense of smell, but his nose was nowhere near as strong as Naruto's or Kiba's in. Zabuza was an expert at the art of silent killing. he needed to get rid of Th. And fast. No, I didn't expect the legendary copy ninja of Konoha to be easy, but so far you're. Little brats seem to be doing more damage than you. Kakashi flinched. Naruto and Kiba had to go and get involved against one of the legendary 7 swordsmen and a bunch of strong ninja, and this was more than he could handle, but it got worse. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, Sasuke yelled. He charged into the mist and soon there was the noise of metal striking metal and of punches connecting with bones. Asuma, is there anything you can do about the mist? Kakashi yelled to Asuma, who was immersed in the mist. I can try some wind jutsu, but that's it. Fuden. Repusho, was heard from somewhere in the mist and a large circle of the mist was blown away, showing the current situation. Naruto and Kiba, with the ass of Masao, Akira and Akamaru were engaged in a losing battle against 2 of Zazbu's shinobi. Around them were 3 corpses, one with its throat ripped out, one with it lying a few yards away and the final one with several kunai and shuriken embedded in its vital points. Naruto himself was covered in blood, his normally happy face twisted. Creepy state of ecstasy, Kiba was looking at him in awe, this was a different kid from the one only a couple of minutes ago. Sasuke was looking much worse for wear. He was covered in cuts and bruises. A kunai was deeply engraved in his left arm and his leg was twisted in a way that many Peo would not have thought possible. The man he was fighting looked pretty decent, with only few scratches on him, the only thing that showed he had been in a fight at all was little trickle of blood that was flowing from his lip. Sasuke saw his opponent coming towards him, he could barely move and he knew it was over. The kunai was thrown. The sharp object sped through the air, making a very slight noise, which was enough for Naruto, who used his great speed to block the kunai with his body. Blood spattered all over Sasuke. He couldn't understand it. Naruto just grabbed the thing that was interrupting his breathing and flung it back at the Junin, but it missed Mile and fell to the ground. Why? Sasuke whispered. Naruto just grunted with the pain and collapsed. Naruto awoke in a room. He was lying on something soft, a bed. Yes, of course. He saw his clothes lying on a carpet outside the room. What he failed to notice was that Th was in the corner and that there was a wall separating him from the clothes and he would need to walk out the door. Once he had defeated the wall, he attempted to put clothes. He was stumped by the positioning of the holes for a few minutes before he overcame that obstacle as well. He walked down the hallway, but as he walked he felt weaker. He almost collapsed as he entered what looked like the kitchen, which was empty except for Kakashi. Naruto heard a gasp, and his eyes were black and too red. Swirling around, he had unlocked the Sharingan. Naruto, quickly shove as much chakra as you can into your eyes, Kakashi said, a hint of urgency creeping into his monotone. Naruto did as was told and his eyes turned back to normal. Naruto, do you know what you have done? Kakashi asked, his voice back to normal. No. I just fell really weak, but my reflexes are pretty bad this morning, Naruto said, a smile coming onto his face as he remembered this morning's antics. That's probably due to lack of chakra. Kakashi said to himself, saying his thoughts out loud. Anyway, he continued, I have no idea how, have just acquired the Sharingan. However, I would advise you to keep this a secret for a while, and I will do some work. Several important matters. The Sharingan. Naruto was shocked. He was an Inuzuka. They were not supposed to have the Sharingan. They were an average clan that had done pretty well these years, but were not in the same league as the Hyuga or the Uchiha. They were not destined for power or glory, but they were hard workers, brash, arrogant, the complete opposite to the Uchiha. That was about as far as he got before he collapsed due to chakra exhaustion. Not long after, Naruto was running around the house he was being held prisoner in. It turned out the house belonged to the old man they were supposed to be defending. His jailer was called Tsunami, the old man's daughter. Naruto, with his hormones raging, was constantly trying to get her to suck his meat, and eventually she locked him room. Then Kakashi, Asuma and the rest of his friends came back. Naruto, there are some things we need to discuss, Asuma said. First of all, the mission. It turned out that the old man we were supposed to guard was a marked man. Bridge builder and he is trying to complete a bridge from wave to the mainland in order to boost the economy. However, His opponent in this is the well-known billionaire G. He has hired the famous assassin Momochi Zabuza to kill our client. As a result, we are allowed to decline this mission, but we all agreed to take it anyway. Okay. That's all pretty cool, but won't we have to fight Zabuza and his thugs again then? Yeah, this is why both squads are training every day. Now Naruto, the second thing I would like to ask is how would you like to change places with Ino and join Kakashi's? He has requested the idea, because he thought it would be the best in helping you train due to unusual circumstances. I dunno about that, I really like Shikamaru and Kiba, and I don't really like Ino and Sasuke, Naruto replied. Naruto, this is not really your decision, I know it is going to be tough be separated from your brother, but you have shown skill that Kakashi specializes in and it would be considered best for you to switch teams. In fact, this decision was made yesterday, Hokage's orders. Wait, just how long was I out for? A couple of days, 4 to be precise. So when can I start training again? Haha, typical Inuzuka, I think that you will be fine for you to train tomorrow. Okay Asuma-sensei. Now Naruto you will call me Asuma-san please, as I am no longer your sensei. As well, I would like you to tell Shikamaru and Kiba that you are switching teams tonight, You go to bed. Fine, fine. Okay guys I got something to tell you, Naruto said to ex-teammates, Kiba and Shikamaru. The Hokage is making me move teams, and I will now be on Kakashi's team with Sasuke. Aw man that sucks balls. Kiba replied. Tisk. Troublesome, was all Shikamaru said. Oh, and Ino will now be on your team, bye. They were on the bridge. Naruto and Kakashi were standing on the middle of the almost completed bridge. It was deserted. All the workers had been given the day of Mo. They had demanded the day off. It was a cold day, there was the usual thin layer of mist covering the land. Okay Naruto, I'm going to explain everything to you now, starting with the very beginning, Kakashi began. I'm sure you have heard of the Great Kyuubi attack. Kakashi asked. Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything? Naruto answered. Do you know how the Great Fox was defeated? Kakashi asked Naruto again. Yeah, or at least I think so, Naruto said, his face becoming rigid. In his last act, the Yondaime sealed Kyuubi no Kitsune inside of me, getting rid of it, but at the cost of high. But the fox died or his spirit drifted away or something, because all I know is that I absorbed his chakra. Naruto replied, again finishing with a question. You're correct in saying that Kyuubi was sealed in you and that his soul disappeared, but that does not mean he has left you for good. The chakra that remained after he on into the next world is very lethal stuff. It is tainted with his evil and poses a threat to anyone who comes into contact with it. I believe that when you were fighting Zabu, his thugs yesterday, you tapped into the immense power of the Kyuubi, which seemed to influence you and cloud your judgment. Kakashi said, staring at Naruto underneath mask. Wait, so you're telling me some fucking fur ball is fucking around with body and giving me crazy ass power? Naruto asked, returning to his normal self. Yep, shit. Or not shit, cool. Naruto seemed to reason with himself, obviously very confused. I think that this has an upside and a downside, Kakashi said, sounding bored. Tell me there is something that doesn't. Naruto exclaimed. The good part is that I believe you may be able to use a fraction of the Kyuubi's chakra without doing too much damage to yourself, however, if you do use too much, I do want to be around to find out. I'm confused. Naruto replied. God, these Inuzukas were as smart as shit. Naruto, basically if you use too much of the Kyuubi's power the world explodes, Kakashi explained, sounding annoyed. Even the ramen? Naruto asked, comic tears flowing out of his eyes. Yes Naruto, even the ramen, Kakashi replied. Naruto fainted. Kakashi's sweat dropped. When Naruto came to, he and Kakashi began training, so to speak. Okay Naruto, the first part of training is to understand a few things. The first is the Sharingan. You must not think of this as a gift to be used as often as you like, you must a privilege and only use it in dire situations. How you got the Sharingan I am not sure. Okay, I get it, sort of. Anyways, why did I have to switch teams? I have the Sharingan and Sasuke will hopefully get it soon, and since I am the only Junin instructor with it, I shall be training both of you in how to use it correctly. Now begin with the training. For now just try and activate it again. Naruto assumed that all he had to do was apply chakra to his eyes and that he would be able to activate the Sharingan. It worked, for about a second or two, then an IMM. Pain hit his body. He couldn't stand, he was writhing on the floor in pain, contorting in agony. Naruto turned them off. Kakashi shouted. Naruto managed to use his final seconds of consciousness to deactivate his Sharingan. A few days later, Naruto was training with his new squad in the bridge. His old squad was there as well, but they seemed to be failing in their training. Kiba was trying, but Asuma's attention was completely on Shikamaru, who was too lazy to bother. Ino was staring at Sasuke, touching herself in places too dark to mention. Naruto and Sasuke, advancing at a rapid rate, Kakashi had them mostly doing chakra control exercises, tree walking, water walking, the usual. However, things were not as peacefully as they. Construction on the bridge had practically stopped as workers were assassinated one by one, and soon no one wanted to build the cursed bridge. There was an eerie mist. Time now, thicker than usual, almost unnaturally thick in fact. Everybody was waiting for Zabuza to attack, and when they heard the shout of Kurigakur no Jutsu, no on. Surprised. The fog came rolling in, this time much thicker, more powerful, more secretive. Naruto was scared. This was like the last time he had fought Zabuza, his senses couldn't work. The enemies' smell was blurry, not exact. They were moving, but his ears picked up the sound a couple of seconds late. This made his pinpoint black and white picked. Fuzzy and gray. He felt alone, isolated, like there was nothing he could do. Then he got angry. Angry that he could not do anything. He felt something he had only felt once. Something dark, evil creeping up his body from his feet, increasing his feelings of loneliness and anger, feeding upon them, gaining speed, engulfing his body. Then he remembered what Kakashi had told him about the Kyuubi's chakra. No, he thought, I can't let his power control me, take over my body. I must fight it, stop it, control it. Slowly the darkness stopped, around his stomach area. Kanbi Henge no Jutsu, Naruto shouted. There was a poof of smoke and Naruto turned into a large wolf. With this formation, he, Masao and Akira could easily hunt in a small pack, a difficult thing for any ninja to deal with. As well, he could still jutsu, even though he couldn't use hand signs. As a result, they were not as powerful and used more chakra. Guys, there are 4 enemies including Zabuza. Sakura and Ino take out the guy to my right. Sasuke and Shikamaru take out the guy to me left. Naruto and Kiba take OU. Guy in the Hunter Nin mask, me and Asuma will take out Zabuza. Kakashi shouted to the genin through the mist. Sakura and Ino's fight. Ino, I know that we haven't always got along so much, but we do have to settle our differences and be on the same team, Sakura said. But I wish Sasuke was here, Ino whined. Me too, Sakura said. The ninja who was fighting them started laughing to himself, quite loud. Ha ha ha. You guys are in love with that gay guy with the black hair, ha ha ha. The ninja collapsed because of laughter. You did not just call our Sasuke-kun gay. Ino and Sakura said in unison. They had suddenly grown taller, and were pretty pissed off. You're damn right I did. Ha ha. The ninja replied. The 2 girls sprinted over to him and kicked him in the balls, 5 times. The ninja got up, and then collapsed. 5 minutes later he was up, though clutching his privates. You little bitches. I'm destroy your face. He roared. Then he charged, his fist raised. If he destroys our face, Ino said. Then Sasuke-kun won't like us anymore, Sakura finished Ino's sentence. The 2 kunoichi turned to each other with grimaces on their faces. They charged. The 3 ninja met somewhere near the middle of the bridge. Sakura caught her hands. Ino attempted to take his head off with a punch, but the man ducked and responded with a low roadhouse kick and brought Sakura crashing to the ground. His were released by Sakura as she fell, and he sent punches flying at Ino's face. She had to get out of there, so she jumped back and gathered her thoughts. Sakura was dazed. She had never been so badly beaten in her life, and that was just one kick. She saw Ino and the guy punching each other, and she dragged her body the mist towards them. Ino was scared. The man she was fighting was throwing blow after blow and she was barely managing to dodge or block them. She was going to lose, die or worse, never. Sasuke again. Then something very strange happened. The man stopped. Then he shouted, screaming in agony. His hands moved down towards his groin and there was Saw. On her hands and knees, examining her prize. Yep, you guessed it. There was blood everywhere and the man was dead, or dying. Ew, Sakura, that's gross. Ino shrieked. I know, but it's good practice for Sasuke-kun, she said, as she placed the item in her pocket after wiping it clean. Sasuke and Shikamaru's fight. Sasuke groaned as soon as he heard who he was supposed to fight with, the Nara. That kid was so bad at fighting, that his 3-year-old cousin could beat him, but never. Now he could prove how great he was. Shikamaru was standing off into space. He was pretty bored. The ninja they were fighting noticed the Sharingan in Sasuke's eyes and knew at once that this was a real opponent. He decided to get rid of the Shikamaru by tossing a kunai at him. Shikamaru had just gone to the ground to watch the fight as kunai sailed over his head. This shook him up. He was not used to imminent death and began to think of a plan, all while staring at the mist. Life was good. Sasuke began the fight by using one of Uchiha's many fire jutsu. Kaden. Gukaku no Jutsu, he yelled. Sweden. Sujinheki, his opponent cried. The large fireball was met with a big jet of water, cancelling each other out. However, the fire jutsu had only been a ploy as Sasuke had used it as cover for his real attack. Had sprinted behind the fireball and dove underground as soon as he heard his opponent use his water jutsu. He popped out of the ground and just missed his opponents. The mist shinobi was surprised. This kid had almost taken him out in a couple of minutes. He had to be more careful. Unfortunately for Sasuke, the time it took him to react ground after coming out of his hole was too long, and his stomach collided with his opponent's foot, which sent him flying. Before he could get up again, his opponent was him, coming down from the air and delivering an axe kick to Sasuke's face. He sank a couple of inches into the ground and didn't move. Shikamaru knew that this was his chance. He saw the mist nin crouching over Sasuke, a kunai in his hand, preparing to deliver the final blow. The difference of a second ca. Mean life or death for a shinobi. For Sasuke, it meant life. He saw the kunai bearing down on his throat. He could see the anticipation in his enemy's eyes, and suddenly stopped. Kage main no jutsu, Shikamaru said. Then Shikamaru started walking towards the man, and the man was forced to walk towards the edge of the bridge. He was about to fall, when a kunai was embedded in throat. Sasuke was standing, a grim look on his face. I could have done it alone, was all he said to Shikamaru as he walked away. Kakashi and Asuma's fight. Zabuza was a little worried. He was taking on 2 of Konoha's elite Junin, a daunting prospect. However, he did not become one of the most famous assassins for no reason. Was also a genius. Many people only thought of him as a ruthless killer, which he was, but when in a serious fight such as this one, he planned out every move, anticipating opponents' move and responding to that. With a large arsenal of water jutsu and with his skill with his sword, he was a fearsome opponent. His first move was a surprising. He moved as quickly as he could and attempted to cut Asuma in two. He was correct in thinking that Asuma would jump over the sword, which was why he used so much. In getting there, Asuma was surprised. He jumped, but was late. The sword had almost materialized out of the mist, and he was not quick enough. The cleaver slashed into leg, down to the bone, and as he landed, there was a crunch and a scream of agony. Kakashi knew Asuma was no help now. He was nervous for one of the few times in his life. Momochi Zabuza was famous for silent killing, hiding in the mist and striking opponents had a chance. He was fighting in a water-based environment and was deep in chakra-enhanced fog. Things were not looking good. Kakashi reached for his mask, lowered it down, to reveal the Sharingan. The Sharingan. For me. I felt honored, Zabuza said from inside the mist. Then his sword came flying. Kakashi ducked and then jumped. Underneath him was a couple of kunai designed to take out his legs. A shinobi in the air is a vulnerable one. Kakashi had already begun to make hand seals, the same as Zabuza. This is why Zabuza was a genius. The hand seals he had been making were pointless, they were just random, however Kakashi did not know that. Another thing that Kaka, unaware of was the fact that the Zabuza making the hand seals was a water clone, and that the real, was running to intercept Kakashi as he landed. Kakashi opened his mouth to sigh. By the jutsu, but Zabuza stopped speaking, and melted into the ground. Shit! Kakashi yelled as he landed and jumped towards the water, where a Zabuza clone was waiting making hand seals. Suoro no jutsu, the clone said, using up all of its stored chakra to create a prison around Kakashi, just as landed on the water. That was an interesting match, Kakashi. Unfortunately, we will never have a rematch, Zabuza said, more to himself than anything else. Then he heard a weird noise, like birds chirping. He turned and saw Kakashi, running, reaching his arm out and impaling him with a finger of pure chakra. How? Zabuza choked out, coughing up blood. Simple. I copied your Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu at the beginning, the entire time you were fighting my clone. Kakashi said. If possible, he sounded bored. Please, take my sword as token of my defeat, Zabuza managed to whisper, before falling to the ground, dead. The Inuzuka clan was much more powerful than most thought. Many of their techniques were basic and easy to learn, but in the right hands, they were devastating. As many of the higher clan jutsus hadn't been used in years, mainly because there has not been a very strong Inuzuka for a while. Many of these techniques were high A class. Even S-class jutsu, that few could master. Once every couple of decades, an Inuzuka prodigy would learn these and the Inuzuka clan would rise in power, and then slowly away. In his animal form, Naruto was very powerful, and with Masao and Akira he was almost unstoppable. There were many disadvantages, however. The jutsu used for it was different from what it sounded. It was a technique that scrambled the DNA of the user and turned the user into a dog. Many say that this is impossible and that all the juts. A very good henge. To discover the secret of the technique, you must look to the beginning of the Inuzuka clan, many centuries ago. The founder of the clan, Inuzuka Tetsu. The demon Inu, dog, sealed inside him. The sealing was flawed and many of the characteristics of Inu began to show themselves in Tetsuo, and even some of his DNA was combined with that of Tetsuo, which allowed all descendants of him to have an unusual amount of similarities with dogs. Some even said that there had been an Inuzuka bloodline, but that had been lost for centuries. Back to the jutsu, the main flaws were that the user had to use vast amounts of chakra to keep the DNA in dog form. As jutsus used were not as effective and used up a lot of chakra. The Inuzuka clan is one of the oldest clans in Konoha. Much like the Uchiha, they are related to the Hyuga. Inuzuka Tetsuo was originally Hyuga Tetsuo, but when the Da was sealed inside of him, he was discarded by the Hyuga. Angered by this, Inu helped him to create a new clan to rival that of the Hyuga. There was then a civil war in K, which was at that time a very small village. The Inuzuka clan had killed a member of the Hyuga clan who had broken into the Inuzuka compound in an attempt to steal the clan secrets. The Hyuga clan responded by abducting the clan heiress, Inuzuka Akiko, and killed her. Akiko was the last Inuzuka to have supposedly unlocked the Inu's bloodline. A brutal war broke out between the clan, in which the Hyuga won and wiped out the Inuzuka clan, or so they thought. However, one man restored the clan. His has been lost for eternity. As well, many of the Inuzuka clan secrets have been lost forever. Naruto was more confident. The previously blurry image that he was getting was crystal clear. His senses were heightened more than 100 times, even chakra enhance couldn't its secrets from him. He heard Sakura and Ino's fight, heard their enemy scream out in pain, how he fell to the ground, lifeless. He smelt the blood from Zabuza, Asuma. He felt the chakra moving through the air from Sasuke's jutsu. Slowly the mist receded. Zabuza was dead, the jutsu was stopped. Haku was nervous. He saw what she was up against. 3 wolves, each one at least 4 foot tall. As well, there was a boy and a dog. They looked less threatening, but outnumbered. He could fix that easily. Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu, he yelled, and a clone of him formed out of air. Kiba charged at the clone, with Akamaru following. He swiped at Haku, and then began a very one-sided taijutsu match with him while Akamaru watched. The Haku clone, only 1/10 of the strength, and yet was able to dodge all of Kiba's blows easily. He didn't even need to block, it was just side to side with an occasional duck or jump. K began to get more and more frustrated. This person was just standing there behind some stupid mask, barely even trying, while he was using all his strength. Come on Akamaru, he yelled. Gatsuga, he yelled. Two twirling objects came towards the Haku clone, which jumped to avoid the first one, but was forced to use a water jutsu in order to stop the second one. Akamaru fell to ground, conquered by the wall of water which came out of Haku's mouth. Haku was surprised. She had been right in assuming that Kiba was weaker than Naruto, but she had underestimated him. He was definitely better than her clone, and once clone was defeated he would lose 1/10 of his chakra, a big blow. Naruto saw that Kiba was able to keep his own, and began to charge, with Akira and Masao following. Haku tensed the muscles in his legs and prepared to jump over the bloodthirsty hounds. Naruto sensed the chakra gathering in Haku's legs and cursed as he was forced to use one of the higher-ranking Inuzuka clan techniques. Inuzuka. Kai, Naruto barked. This jutsu was an A-rank jutsu, merely because of the power required to use it. What it does is it opens the user's fifth celestial gate. This allows the op to travel at the speed of sound. However, instead of doing damage to the body of the user, it used up an enormous amount of chakra, an amount that made Naruto cautious about the number of times he used it. Naruto shot forward, much faster than Haku was prepared for. He sidestepped, but Naruto managed to take two of his fingers as he zoomed by. Haku was stunned. He had sensed the high chakra levels inside, but the amount required to pull of that jutsu was more than he had when he was at full strength. Then Haku saw Masao and Akira charging forward, separated from Naruto. Sensatsu Susho, he said. Hundreds of needles formed out of the water that was scattered across the bridge and sped towards Masao and Akira, who were powerless to stop it. Naruto saw this, but was not sure what to do. The jutsu he had used before had many flaws. The main one was the amount of chakra needed to use it. As well, going from human speed to the speed of sound had a dangerous effect on the body. The sudden jump in speeds did a lot of damage to the skeleton if used by someone too small, was why Naruto was only able to use it when he was in his dog form. Dogs had a much stronger skeleton than a human, and since Naruto was not fully developed, his body would stop him from moving for the rest of his life. In his dog form, Naruto had never tried to use it more than once. The risks were too much for him. It was a decision. Inuzuka. Kai, Naruto yelled, praying he would be able to move after this. The effect on his body was immediate. He felt his bones being grinded, his fingers bending, cracking, and one even breaking. Then it stopped. He had pus. Masao and Akira out of the way. Where they had been only seconds before were hundreds of ice needles. Kiba was doing alright, but he knew that if he didn't do something soon he would end up dead. His opponent was easily blocking all of his and Akamaru's moves easily and responding with force, intentionally not hurting him too much, but not going easy on him. As well, he was running out of chakra, and even though the clone had the same problem, it could not die of chakra exhaustion. He ducked a punch and jumped over a kick and responded with an axe kick, which missed. At the beginning of the fight Kiba was able to do this without a problem, however. It left him winded and struggling to stand. He stared at Akamaru and they exchanged some words that Haku could not understand. He saw Kiba nod and then heard Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu, Kiba shouted. There was a little poof of smoke, and then out of the smoke appeared another Kiba. Haku was interested, until one of the Kibas charged him. There was a brief struggle. Haku overpowered him and sent him flying with an uppercut. There was a poof as the Kiba turned into Akamaru. Garuga was the last thing the Haku clone heard as a huge spiraling mass crashed into it and destroyed. Kiba was tired, very tired, and yet he was happy. He had won. He walked over to where his brother was fighting. Naruto was not faring as well as his brother. He was lying on the cold stone that was used to make the bridge. His bones ached from using the jutsu twice. His DNA was normal, and Masao and Akira could only hold off Haku for so long. There was a whimper and a bark as Masao went soaring by Naruto, a huge gash in his side. Akira soon fell. This time accompanied with a laugh from Haku. This time you will die, Haku said from underneath his mask. Sensatsu Susho, Haku yelled. In a shinobi's life, the difference of a second can mean life or death. In this situation, for Naruto it meant life, for Kiba, death. Kiba had seen the needles forming, and knew Naruto would die. He was the older twin, the older brother, even if it was only a couple of minutes. He had always looked up. Naruto, who was the pride of the Inuzukas, the prodigy. Maybe for once he would be the one who the clan talked about with pride, maybe. He had thrown himself in front of the needles, which had pierced every organ in his body. He was dead. Naruto felt something awaken inside of him. It was black, but not reeking of evil like Kyuubi. It was almost peaceful, like space. It was warm, but not boiling. Slowly it began, reach all corners of his body, taking over. Haku was scared. The boy who had been lying on the floor was now standing, black chakra radiating from his body, taking the form of a dog. Naruto felt his eyesight chong. Everything went black, until details began to emerge, in white. First the outlines, then more detailed, until he could see the normal earth, except everything was moving SL. Think Matrix. He could see Haku backing away in fear, then everything collapsed. Haku saw Naruto come close to her and she retreated further away. Inuzuka. Kuchio's no jutsu, Naruto said, his voice calm, yet dripping with anger. A huge three-headed dog appeared, its three heads full of fangs. It charged straight at Haku, who began to mold chakra. Hyouten. Haryu Muko, Haku said, his voice full of fear. An ice tiger rose out of the water and met the dog head-on. The two cancelled each out, creating an explosion which created a hole in the middle of the bridge. Naruto was finished, not by a long shot. He rushed Haku and began using brutal methods to beat him up, but he was careful not to kill him. He broke every finger one by one, Akazio. Tearing one off, he destroyed his arms and legs, and then he brought him over to Kiba, and he began going through signals. The reason why the Inuzuka clan was restored was because they had the most powerful jutsu in the world, the resurrection jutsu. The reason why all Inuzuka carried dogs them was because to restore the life of an Inuzuka, a life was needed as a sacrifice, usually a dog. However, the secret of the resurrection had been lost many years ago. Had tried to copy it, but to no avail. Inuzuka. Yomigari no jutsu, Naruto roared. Slowly, chakra began to pour out of Haku, and he began to age considerably, until he was a pile of dust, which was blown away in the wind. Naruto let OU, harsh laugh, and slowly the black chakra began to retreat, and then he collapsed. Konoha. Naruto woke up inside a warm soft bed. He tried to move, but there was a crack and he groaned in pain. His body was wrapped in bandages. What happy, he thought.